7 polite behaviors that subtly signal you are a high-class man. In a world obsessed with loud success and flashy status, the truly high-class man is quietly powerful. Here's a fact. The most respected men in society rarely speak about themselves. They let their presence do the talking. You've probably noticed it too. The man who walks into a room and somehow commands attention without needing to prove anything. That's not luck. That's cultivated behavior. In this video, you'll discover 7 subtle behaviors that reveal true class without ever needing to say a word. Stick around till the end for a bonus behavior that even most so-called gentlemen overlook. It's the one thing that separates real class from performative manners. Welcome to Synced, where mature and elegant men master timeless fashion styles, learn to move with confidence, and are equipped to build deep relationships. Let's get started. Point 1. Never commenting on someone's appearance in a first meeting. This one's easy to overlook, but it reveals more about you than you think. When you first meet someone, your instinct might be to compliment their appearance. "You look great," or "That's a lovely dress." It seems polite, but a high-class man knows better. Because here's what that kind of comment really does. It immediately shifts the conversation to how someone looks, not who they are. And even if your words are well-meaning, they can subtly create a sense of being judged or appraised. Now contrast that with this. You're at a networking event. Someone introduces you to a guest. Instead of leading with a compliment, you simply ask, "So what brought you here tonight?" It's calm, it's warm, and most importantly, it shows interest in their experience, not their appearance. A high-class man doesn't need to rely on surface-level validation. He listens. He asks thoughtful questions. He makes people feel comfortable, not evaluated. Remember, true class isn't about charm for the sake of charm. It's about respect. And when you leave someone feeling seen instead of scanned, that's when they remember you, not for what you said, but for how you made them feel. That's power, done quietly. Point 2. Leaving a room quietly when a phone call comes in. Most people, when their phone rings, feel the need to announce it, usually with a sigh, a fumble, or a loud, "Sorry, I've got to take this," but a high-class man doesn't perform his interruptions. He handles them elegantly. Picture this. You're in a small meeting, or maybe a quiet dinner among friends. Your phone vibrates in your pocket. Now, most people would glance at it, apologize to the group, maybe even explain who's calling. But you simply excuse yourself with a quiet nod or a polite smile, and you step away. No disruption. No explanation. You let your presence exit the room with the same calmness it entered. That's not just polite, it's deeply respectful. Because here's the truth. Class isn't loud. It doesn't need permission to behave well. It simply considers the energy of the room and adjusts accordingly. This behavior says something quietly powerful. I value your space as much as I value mine. And in a world full of constant noise, that kind of restraint speaks volumes. Here's a quote to remember. Elegance isn't in the statement, it's in the absence of disruption. It may seem like a small habit, but trust this, the people around you will notice. Even if they can't put it into words, they'll feel it. Point 3. Using "excuse me" instead of "sorry" when it's not your fault. How many times have you said sorry today? Now think, how many of those times did you actually do something wrong? Here's the thing. Sorry is one of the most overused words in everyday speech. And while it may seem polite, it can quietly chip away at how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Imagine you're walking through a crowded hallway. Someone's standing in your way. Most people instinctively mutter, "Sorry," as they try to squeeze by. But you haven't done anything wrong. You're just trying to move through a space like anyone else. Now imagine this instead. You say, "Excuse me." 2 simple words. Calm, polite, direct. No apology, because none is needed. There's a subtle but powerful difference here. Sorry implies guilt. Excuse me signals presence. A high-class man is respectful, not submissive. He doesn't shrink himself to make others comfortable. He takes up space with grace. In fact, a study from the University of Waterloo in Canada found that people who apologize too frequently, regardless of gender, are often perceived as less competent. Over-apologizing communicates a lack of confidence, even when none is intended. True class is about knowing the difference between humility and unnecessary guilt. So next time you're tempted to say sorry when there's nothing to be sorry for, pause and let "excuse me" carry the message instead. It's a small shift with a big impact. Point 4. Standing still while being corrected. This one hits deep because it's not about what you say, but how you respond when you're wrong. When someone corrects you, whether in conversation, in a meeting, or over a tiny detail, most people react instinctively. A nervous laugh, a quick shift in posture, maybe even a defensive comment. But a high-class man, he stays still. Picture this. You're at dinner, mid-conversation, and you mention an event happening in 1854. Someone across the table gently says, "Actually, I think it was 1852. Now, the average man might fidget, chuckle awkwardly, or try to justify the mistake. But you hold your posture. You look them in the eye and say, "You're right. Thanks for catching that." No drama. No wounded ego. Just calm acknowledgement. Stillness in that moment communicates something rare. Composure. It says you're secure enough to be wrong without crumbling. And in a world obsessed with always being right, that's magnetic. Because class isn't about flawless knowledge, it's about graceful presence. You're not defined by being correct. You're defined by how you carry yourself when corrected. And trust me, people notice. That quiet confidence, that's what sets you apart. Point 5. Tuning your tone to match the emotional volume of the room. A high-class man doesn't just walk into a room, he reads it. One of the quickest ways to stand out negatively is by being out of sync with the emotional energy around you. Imagine stepping into a quiet, reflective gathering and speaking like you're announcing a boxing match. That's not confidence, that's tone deafness. Polished men know how to adjust. If you walk into a tense meeting, you don't greet the room with over-the-top cheer. You keep your tone grounded, measured. You become a calming presence, not a jarring one. But the reverse is also true. At a joyful reunion, you don't stay cold or reserved. You meet the moment. You reflect warmth without needing to steal attention. This ability to match emotional tone isn't about faking it. It's about awareness. It shows you're in tune with people, not just with yourself. Here's a truth worth remembering. Matching tone isn't imitation. It's emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is the secret weapon of the high-class man. It makes people feel emotionally safe around you. And when people feel safe in your presence, that's when real influence begins. Point 6. Acknowledging small acts from others with a nod, not a speech. Gratitude doesn't always have to be loud. In fact, when it comes to class, the quieter it is, the stronger it feels. Imagine someone holds the elevator door for you. Most people might respond with an overly enthusiastic, "Oh, wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate it." It's well-meaning, but a high-class man does it differently. He offers a simple, direct nod. Maybe a calm, "Thanks." That's it. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you composed. Because excessive thanking can come across as performative, like you're trying to prove you're polite. But when your gratitude is quiet and sincere, it says something deeper. It says, "Kindness doesn't surprise me. I'm used to moving through a world where people treat each other with respect." It's a small shift, but it leaves a lasting impression. Because real class doesn't announce itself, not even in gratitude. And remember, when your presence already communicates respect, you don't need a speech to say thank you. The nod is enough. Point 7. Choosing to sit last and stand first in group settings. This is one of those behaviors that says everything, without saying a word. A high-class man doesn't rush to claim his space. In group settings, whether it's a dinner, a meeting, or even a waiting room, he observes first. He lets others choose their seats. He reads the rhythm of the room before moving. Why? Because presence isn't about speed. It's about timing. Now picture this. You're at a business lunch. Instead of grabbing the best seat, you wait. You let the client or the senior member choose first. Then, when the meeting wraps, you're the first to stand. Not to rush out, but to signal that the gathering is naturally closing. It's a silent cue, a graceful transition, and people follow your lead without even realizing it. This quiet rhythm of sit last, stand first communicates something powerful. I'm here to lead without controlling. That's not just good manners. That's emotional presence. It shows you're aware of group dynamics and confident enough to guide without dominating. Subtle? Yes. But this is the kind of move that high-level people recognize instantly. and respect deeply. If you've made it this far, you're clearly one of us. Comment the word subtle below so we know you watched till the end. That one word tells us everything we need to know about you. Bonus point, practicing invisible kindness when no one is watching. Invisible kindness is one of the most overlooked signs of a truly high-class man. It's the act of doing something good. Not for praise, not for validation, but because it's simply the right thing to do. You quietly leave a generous tip for the hotel cleaning staff. You pick up a paper towel from the floor of a public restroom so someone else doesn't slip. You leave an anonymous note of encouragement for a neighbor who's been having a rough week. No one sees it. No one claps. And that's exactly why it matters. True class doesn't perform goodness. It practices it, even when no one is watching. Remember this. Character is who you are when the spotlight is off. This bonus is for our real ones, the ones who come back, who watch all the way through, who live this message in quiet, powerful ways. We see you, and we respect the way you move. Here's a quick recap of what we covered today. Don't comment on appearances during first meetings. Leave rooms quietly when taking a call. Use excuse me instead of sorry when it's not your fault. Stand still when corrected. Stay composed. Match your tone to the emotional energy in the room. Keep your gratitude subtle and sincere. Sit last, stand first. And finally, practice invisible kindness when no one's watching. If this video made you think differently, give it a like. It helps more than you think. Subscribe for daily insights on personal growth and elegant living. And if you know someone working on becoming their best self, share this with them. Thanks for spending time with us. We've handpicked the next video on your screen just for you. See you back here tomorrow.